Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and I wanted to do a quick video review of the HP Mini 210 HD. It's a thin, light 10-inch netbook. Its distinguishing feature is probably the high-definition 1366 by 768 pixel display, but it's got a couple of other things that are pretty nice, and I've showed off some of these features in other videos, but I just wanted to go over them real quick here. First of all, nice, solid, attractive lid. It's sort of fingerprint smudge proof. You can see a couple of dots there. HP logo, Energy Star certification. On the bottom, there's actually a very similar looking panel, which is unusual. You don't normally get the colored panels on the bottom as well as the top. And it sort of gives it a nice look, where you've got the black edges and blue top, blue bottom. It's also available in a couple of other colors, including red, white, or black. I think black is actually the only version that comes at the base price of $329. You add an extra $20 or so if you want to get the higher resolution. I mean, the different colors. We've got VGA, 3 USB ports, a combination mic and headphone jack, vent on this side, another vent on this side. One thing I did notice about this guy is while it's relatively small, not a lot of space, no vents on the bottom, it does get a little bit noisy. You do hear sound coming out of those vents. You've also got speakers here on the front. Ethernet is hidden away behind a little jack here. If you use it too frequently, you might worry about this thing breaking off. It's not held on there real tight, but honestly, I don't imagine you're going to spend a lot of time using an Ethernet jack on most netbooks. I mean, varies from situation to situation. Power button is here on the side, and we've got the SD MMC card slot. You might notice that the bottom is actually sort of not tacked on there very well. That's because if you remove the battery, you can actually press 2 buttons and remove the entire base panel. Again, see my other YouTube videos for that. Now, if we open it up, you can take a look at the keyboard. It's a nice chiclet-style keyboard. A little bit of space in between each key. Pretty easy to type on. The touchpad, not my favorite touchpad design because it actually has integrated touchpad buttons. Oh, almost forgot to mention. Boots up into automatically this quick boot system, which is based on Linux and offers you quick access to music, photos, web, and some other things if you set it up. Or you can click this button just to boot over into Windows. Going back to the touchpad, though, it's got the integrated buttons here. You've got a left and right button that are built into the touchpad, meaning that they're not separate. You can't click and then slide your finger on a separate device. But, that said, the drivers that HP has released for this one are actually pretty good, so that you don't have too much problem if you're clicking and dragging, for instance. You're just sort of pushing down one part of the touchpad while moving your finger. And the advantage to this, of course, is that you get a nice big area for sliding your finger over. It supports multi-touch gestures, such as 2 fingers to scroll, and if you spend most of your time actually just doing single clicks, you don't even need to use 2 fingers. So it's probably the best integrated touchpad that I've tried so far on a netbook. I'd still prefer separate buttons, but I'm sort of willing to make an exception for this one because the drivers do seem to work pretty well. Let's take a look here at the display. Works pretty well. The viewing angles are not too bad. So you can see it from various angles. I don't want to do the HP support. Okay. Now, it's a high-resolution display, and I've actually found that changing the DPI to 125 instead of 100% to 125% makes the icons look a little bit bigger, the text for certain menus looks a little bit bigger, makes things just a little bit easier to see. Your results may vary. You may decide that the reason that you really want the high-definition display is for text to look incredibly tiny, but I personally find it easier to read menus and whatnot when I blow up the text a little bit. That said, certain applications, such as your web browsers, are still going to they're going to fit a lot more text on the display than you can on a typical 1024 by 600 pixel netbook. So for example, my website is designed so this is 1024 pixels, which means that if you view it on a netbook, it's really going to look a lot more like this, and that's about all the space that you're going to have room for. Whereas, if you view it on a typical netbook, if you view it on this netbook, you're going to actually be able to fit a whole lot more on a page. Let's take a look at another pretty busy web page. And again, you can see that you've actually got space to spare on the sides of the New York Times website. And if you find the text too small, you can always zoom in. And I believe there are extensions for Firefox and Chrome and other applications that let you adjust the default zoom level. Now when you go to something like YouTube, what you'll notice is that videos look pretty good. I'm just clicking on the first one I see here. Look pretty good in windowed mode. But when you blow them up, they tend to look pretty choppy. And this is just a standard resolution 360p video right now. Looks great here. Looks choppy here. Let's blow it up to 480p. Again, looks pretty good in windowed mode. I'd expect it to look even worse when you blow it up, and it does. So it sort of turns into a slideshow. Let's rewind a little bit and go higher resolution, 720p. Sort of playable, it's a little bit choppy, and I suspect that when we blow it up to full screen, again, we're just getting a couple of frames a second at best here. So, one thing that I've noticed here is that you've got the high definition display, but when it comes to something like high definition flash video, you're really going to want to have the Broadcom Crystal HD video accelerator. This model doesn't have it. You have to spend an extra $40 to get that version. The base model does not come with it. So if you plan to spend time watching high definition or just regular definition flash video in full screen mode, you're going to need a little bit of extra boost there because it's something that the Intel Atom processor and integrated graphics are just not really designed for. That said, local video, if you just plug in a USB flash drive with some video on it, or you download some video to your hard drive, things up to 720p look fine. I can blow up a Windows Media video at 720p resolutions into full screen mode, and it looks fine when it's playing from the hard drive. So the problem really has much more to do with flash than anything else. And that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to go over here with the HP Mini 210 HD. This is Brad Linder for Liliputing, and you can check out liliputing.com for a complete review of this laptop with more pictures, details, information about the battery life. This particular version comes with a 3-cell battery, but there's also, which sits flush, there's also a 6-cell version, which sticks out a little bit from the bottom. And other performance details you can find at liliputing.com. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing.